Russia has lost hundreds of vehicles of various types in the past week, according to figures from Ukraine's military, as fighting rages on in eastern Ukraine. On Thursday, the military said Russia had lost 5 tanks, 12 armored personnel vehicles, and an additional 50 vehicles and fuel tanks in the past day. In the past 7 days, Russia has lost 119 tanks, 293 armored personnel vehicles, and 437 cars and fuel tanks, according to Ukraine's General Staff of the Armed Forces. Russian vehicle losses throughout the more than 25 months of war have been extensive, but Moscow has mobilized its defense industry to keep rolling out vehicles to replenish its fleet in Ukraine. Main battle tanks and armored vehicles are critical for mechanized warfare, and fuel tanks are essential for keeping them up and running in battle. In February, the International Institute for Strategic Studies, a UK-based think tank, estimated that Moscow had lost more than 3,000 tanks in the 2 years of war, more than its entire pre-war active fleet. Ukraine's estimates of Russia's tank losses are even higher, topping 7,000. To backfill its stocks, Moscow has increased its tank production 5-fold since February 2022, Russian President Vladimir Putin said earlier this year. The Kremlin has also pulled old tanks out of storage and repurposed antiquated vehicles to ferry and detonate explosives around a target. In the initial stages of the full-scale war, Russia lost a slew of its tanks and armored vehicles, largely because of what analysts described as organizational and planning failures, broken chains of command, and poor training. Heavy casualties in the first weeks left gaping expertise holes in Russia's tank crews, experts previously told Newsweek. Drawn-out battles have also brought spikes in Russian tank and armored vehicle losses. The battle for the Donetsk town of Vuhledar was described by Ukrainian officials in March 2023 as the biggest tank battle of the war so far, according to a New York Times report. Russian vehicle losses quickly became a defining part of the Kremlin's attack on Avdiivka, the strategic Donetsk city that Moscow captured in February this year. Ukraine posted images purportedly showing damaged and destroyed vehicles strewn across fields around Avdiivka. Within weeks of the initial onslaught on Avdiivka in October 2023, Russia switched to more infantry-led attacks to conserve armored vehicles following the first 2 waves of assaults on the settlement. The Institute for the Study of War, a U.S. think tank, said this past December. In late March, Russia launched a large tank and armored vehicle assault on the village of Tonenka, directly west of Avdiivka. Moscow has controlled Avdiivka, once a Ukrainian stronghold, since mid-February 2024. A significant victory for the Kremlin. It took its toll. The UK government has assessed that February 2024 saw the highest Russian casualty rate of the war. Throughout the month, the average daily number of killed and wounded was just shy of 1,000, the British Defense Ministry said. Ukrainian officials around Avdiivka estimated that Russia sustained 47,000 casualties in its push on the city. Of these, around 17,000 Russian personnel were killed, with approximately 30,000 injured. Looking toward the rest of the year, casualties will spike if there is another pitched battle, as with Avdiivka or Bakhmut, where both sides decide to hold their ground over a town or city, or a defended area, said land warfare analyst Samuel Cranny Evans, an associate fellow with the UK think tank, the Royal United Services Institute. Russian casualties will also depend on how well Ukraine is resourced, said Bielyeskov. Ukrainian officials have said Russia may start up a new offensive as early as the end of May, but there are deep anxieties in Kyiv over military supplies, not least ammunition, from its Western backers. Tens of billions of dollars in security aid for Ukraine has been caught in Congress for months. The uncertainty from Ukraine's single largest donor jeopardizes Ukrainian operations, analysts have said. European countries, led by the Czech Republic, are in the process of drumming up funding for new ammunition batches earmarked for Ukraine. Since the capture of Avdiivka, though, Russia's reported casualties have dropped. Moscow likely reduced attacks to recover from the onslaught on Avdiivka and to pull down casualties ahead of March's presidential election, the UK government said on Sunday.
Постріл! 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 Вистріл!
Від хлопців з туристика. Гармата! І ваш подарунок, ребятка, зараз буде доставлений.
Восстановить наводку! Установлено! Орудие!